Greetings, Weight Watchers and friends. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Love Fuller, and I am here with the Weight Watchers weigh-in update. So this is a season 4 weigh-in number 1 for me. Last week would have been season 4 intro to my getting back on track. If you saw my video last week, I talked about basically why I was coming back and how I had been doing all the time that I was off and whatever, how much weight I gained and all that stuff. So you can definitely check out the link. I think it's here. Okay, so this week I'm going to talk to you about how my first week back on Weight Watchers went, and how I felt like I did, how I did on the scale, and also what I might do differently this week. I'm also going to talk a little bit about regain. Okay, so how I think I did this week. I think I did pretty well this week. I mean, I feel like I did very well. I tracked every day. I don't really usually count my water, but I tend to drink a sufficient amount of water usually anyway. I'm mostly a water drinker. I don't normally drink sodas or things like that unless I go out. So I'm usually good with water. I'm doing the 100-day challenge, the Determined to Satisfied 100-day challenge, so D2S 100, where I do at least 30 minutes of continuous exercise every day. Okay, let me tell you something. I'm in a public place right now, so I'm feeling a little bit like I hear my voice echoing, and I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable. So, you know, I'm a little bit not nervous, but uncomfortable. So if I'm acting weird, that's why. Okay, so I did Determined to Satisfied 100-day challenge. I don't know what day I'm on. I don't even count the days really. I just keep doing it every single day as much as I can. And I remember last times I did it, I would just check in with the other people who are posting every day and find out what day it was, so that whenever I want to check in and figure out what day it is, that's how I know. So hopefully these ladies continue doing it, or I'll just have to count, forward from the last time I posted, blah, blah, blah. I don't really post about that every day, but I've been doing it every day. I've been doing line dancing through my YouTube channel. On YouTube. I've been doing walking on my treadmill. I've been doing, one day I just went to the grocery store and I ended up walking all around for an hour, so I count that because I do continuous activity, not necessarily exercise. And I'll be talking about that a little bit more when I talk to you about my regain. So yeah, my food I tracked. The only thing I would say that didn't go very well was that I made a couple recipes, like 2 to 3 recipes that I kind of was cooking for my husband, or I started weighing and measuring, but then I didn't portion them out because I either served my husband before I got a chance to weigh and measure it out, or I was hungry and I just ate some myself before I measured it out. So between a combination of those things, a lot of my meals this week were I was guessing, estimating, and I'm not used to that at all. I usually I just feel more comfortable when I know when I weigh, when I measure, and I portion. It's more work, of course, but although I didn't do that, I mean that's not ideal. I would say that I'll talk to you about that when I say how I what I'll do differently next week. I think that's about it. I think I did pretty well with all those things, so I guess I'll just tell you what my weigh-in was. My weigh-in, I do want to say one thing. That one thing I did do was, since I was guesstimating, I don't really know what my daily points really were, right? But I do know that when I was tracking, for the most part, I was below my points for several days, several days out of the week. So my results were that I lost 1.2 pounds. So I was 262.0 last week, and this week I was 260.8. I think that's fair because I felt like the 262 was a little low in the first place, because remember I told you the other week that I had already kind of been working on things. I had a lot of jet lag. I've had jet lag ever since I came here, and for me the jet lag makes me tired, makes me fatigued, makes me lethargic, and also not that, it like kind of messes with my appetite, makes me not so hungry. So I kind of like left that alone. I was like okay with that. I understand that if you are too below, if I am too low beneath my daily allotment of points, I tend to like hold on to weight. I think that's normal. Your body goes into starvation mode. But since that's not something that's common for me, like that's not my, like if that's my problem, I'll be okay because it's not gonna last. Like I earned every single pound on my body. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, you know, I don't eat that much. I don't know how I gained weight. No, I earned every single pound, and so I'm not really worried about like if I go beneath my points because baby, it'll come back. And if anything, if I could like just get used to eating like less food, that's good because that means when I like if I'm overeating, hopefully I'll be like right on target. Like it's not gonna last anyway, so I'm not worried about it. So I felt like 262 might have been low in the first place. I didn't eat all my, I ate, maybe ate beneath my points this week. Now, alternatively, I was eating foods that were not, like the dishes that I made were not dishes that I'm used to, and they had like some ingredients in them that I'm not used to. Like I had light coconut oil, I made a curry. Not coconut oil, light coconut milk in there, and I also had what else did I have? Some like rice. I had a lot of rice this week, brown rice. So I had foods that I don't normally eat, so it was not easy for me to like kind of guess the portions. So I don't know if I was like underestimating or overestimating. So maybe I like was way beneath the points that I thought I was in the first place, or I was maybe even way over because like I don't know, because I was like estimating, and that makes me feel very uncomfortable. So what I'll do differently this week is try to, of course, not make that happen again. But on the other hand, I do think it was good in one respect. In the past, whenever I would have not known the points, I felt so uncomfortable, and I kind of tend to have this all or nothing mentality that I'll just say, well, forget it, I'll go back on points tomorrow, or I feel like I'm messing up. I feel like I'm messing up, and so I go into, well, I messed up anyway mode. Or I go into, like, I feel kind of helpless. Like, I don't know how many points, I don't know how to track this. It just feels too out of control. So this week, since I ate those dishes, like, several days, like, several meals throughout, during the week, and I just said it was my first week, and I came here and I told you that I was going to be like coming back next week. So I kind of had to stay on, and I'm glad I did because I'm learning how to estimate, because I think that that's important. Before, whenever I would estimate, it would just like have me like fade off, like kind of slowly fade off of the program. And that's not realistic. In real life, you're not always going to know how many points things are. You're going to have to estimate. You're going to have to just keep it moving, So, so that's what I'm doing. So what I would do differently this week, of course, is try and, make sure that, because I like always, I weigh and I measure the food while I'm preparing it, but then you have to portion it out to know how many servings are in the dish, right? And I was just all messed up with that. So this week I will make sure, like now I have some food prepared already, so like the times when I ate before I served, like before I was able to portion it out, hopefully I'll have other food to eat, so that if I'm so hungry, I'll just eat something else. And hopefully also I won't just be be behind, like with my husband. I'll be able to portion out before I have to serve him, but also I have other food. Like if it comes down to it and I have something that's just hot, like off the, on the stove, and I haven't portioned it out yet, I could always just give him something like leftovers, pull something out of the freezer. Because I'm a big proponent of freezer cooking, because listen, I'm like, I need to do that in a clinch. So what I would do differently this week is, or what I would do the same this week, is definitely continue. I mean, I did a good job tracking every day. I stayed beneath my weeklies, which is rare. Meaning like I used some of my weeklies, but I still had 23 weeklies left, which is like, really? Like, it's amazing. So I definitely want to do that again and just basically stay on track. All right, so that is how I think my week went, what it looked like on the scale, and what I would do differently. Also this week, hopefully, I bought a battery to put in my Fitbit. Hopefully I'll like actually put it in, and I'll get an idea of like how active I'm being when it comes to like steps. All right, so there's that. And what I want to talk to you about, regain. Clearly, obviously, regain is not good. I mean, I don't think anyone would think like, oh, regaining your weight is a positive experience. I mean, it's like, duh, like, where you're like, what are you going to say? I just want to talk to you about like my experience with regain and how what I think the purpose was. Okay, I understand that we always like there's always like when you're people are trying to lose weight, it's very common to like regain and lose, or people with weight issues, right, have it's very common for people to have regain. But I think for me, I learned really how important it is to maintain my weight loss. One thing is that when I lost weight, it alleviated several of my physical, like, I'll call them ailments, but like my knees used to hurt. I was definitely, when I wasn't doing, had never done fitness at all. It was hard for me to like move, and I was like, I was out of breath and was just like sluggish and all that stuff before. But as I lost the weight and those things gradually faded away, my memory of those things faded away, right? So then when I gained weight again, I feel like it was almost like harder because I wasn't like used to that anymore. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, why are my knees hurting? And then my knees also like really hurt. It was like worse than before. Like my knees just like I started having like, I think like almost like arthritic flare-ups, and I think it's definitely because of, who knows, like what I was eating, because I was eating all kinds of junk. So maybe it's a matter of what I was eating, and also a matter of like how much I was eating, because my the weight that was holding my knees. So I feel like this experience of like being at the weight that I got to, or the weight that I am, it feels a little bit worse than it did before, because then I was used to it, and then also I know a difference now. Now I know the difference. Now I know what it's like to not be in pain all the time, or to be able to move and to be more like, I guess, like flexible, like to get down on my knees and like, or just get down on the floor or things like that, and not be out of breath going just through the mall or things like that. So yeah, that's basically what I have to say about regain. Don't do it, but don't do it because I really experienced like it affecting my health. My blood pressure went up. When I went to the, I was feeling like crap, and I ended up going to the chiropractor. Of course, my back pain came back, like all of this stuff. I literally was like at the chiropractor almost the whole entire time I was in Atlanta. Well, at least half the time I was in Atlanta. I went to the chiropractor because my back pain, sciatica, like all of this stuff just from being too heavy. And then I was just also feeling like inflamed. And at the chiropractor, when they're not even doing blood tests, she's just running urine tests, and she's like, oh, you're dehydrated, all my levels were just elevated. Like my blood pressure was high, When I ended up going to the doctor, it came back like my sugar was like high, like not high sugar, but like in terms of like it was all normal. But my chiropractor looked at it, and my doctor just told me, oh, it's normal. I went to a new doctor. He was just like, oh, everything's fine. But I showed it to my chiropractor, who's like more of a holistic health practitioner, and she was like, okay, yeah, you're within normal limits, but it's like if the limit is like, let's just say it went from like, let's just say 90 to 99, for whatever sugar or whatever it is. I was like at 98 or 97. She's like, that's not okay. And I was like, yeah, I agree, it's not okay. So I remember before, oh my gosh, I feel like I always think of Elspeth MacArthur. She's also like she's a commenter, a viewer. And she used to always say to me, and like other people would say to me about like health, like being healthy, like focus on health. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like I feel, since I feel generally fine other than just like my knees or whatever, and I know that like my blood pressure, I take medication for blood pressure, but like I don't have any physical effects. Like I didn't know I literally was like, I don't know what that means. I understand that we need to be on a health journey, but for me, I wasn't. I was just on a weight loss journey, and I told you all that because I didn't know what that meant. well, now I know what it means. Because of the regain, because of that experience, I do know what it means to be healthy or not healthy. And then also I think I said that on one of my videos, and someone said to me, well, if you're healthy, you can run a mile, you can run however many miles. So, but still, to me, that's not realistic, because I don't know, like, a lot of people don't just like run. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be like, so to me, I feel like that was like extra, like, it still didn't click. I mean, I got that, but I think my doctor said that. My doctor was like, okay, that's what healthy means. You know, that doctor that I went to, he was like, that's what healthy means. I was like, oh. But just having all these like warning, and feeling it, and like, I mean, I could hardly walk. My knees were so inflamed, and I just felt like, boom. I felt like I was sick, and I definitely don't want to experience that anymore. So I'm so happy to maintain. And another thing too is, like, like I told you last week, I was watching these YouTubers, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, they're doing so well. But like, so many people like stayed on program like throughout the year, and they maintained or only lost a few pounds. But I thought that was wrong and bad when I was experiencing that, and now I see that might be kind of normal once you've been on the program for a while. Maybe things kind of change, maybe you need to like work things out, or who knows what like reasons that might be. Sometimes that happens, and apparently it can happen a lot. But don't do what I did and just give up and just quit and then gain your weight back. Just don't do it. And I definitely have to say that I feel like I'm in the minority with that, because other than like Weight Watcher Girl 1, I don't see anybody else who really did that. I know Melody said that for Transforming Melody, said that she's gained some, but I gained some and then maintained it. Like Natalie, she gained some from where her lowest weight is, but then she's maintaining and kind of going down since then. After that, I just kept going up and up and up and up and up because I quit. So don't quit, regain sucks, okay? So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it, or found some inspiration, or even if you're like, oh, I'm way better than she is, I lost more than she lost this week, whatever it is, if you got something good out of it, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think by leaving a comment below. And if you're new to this channel, I'd love to have you join me to see my Weight Watchers journey. So please click the subscribe button. I'm Love. This channel still so far is called Fit to Love Me with Love Fuller, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Ciao, friends.